afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast. Me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Crossing in the Woods. I was about to call it Crossroads. Between the south, we got Sturmtiger Giap fighting up for the Oberkommando West, Germany, Deutschland. Taking on the role of the 1st SS Panzerdivision Leibstandarte versus the north, we got Vodkacompany fighting for America, freedom and democracy, taking on the role here of the 4th Armored Division. We got here Special Operations, Breakthrough, and Luftwaffe Ground Forces. We got with Triple Infantry versus Rifle, Airborne, and Heavy Cavalry here for Vodkacompany. Also, big thanks to Rick and Dion for donating to the Propagandacast and supporting the war effort. Good job there, lads. And a big thanks to Ulem for pledging on Patreon, supporting the Propagandacast for those efforts as well. Good job. So big thanks to all of you, and of course hopefully someone else will also decide to, support as well, so I can keep doing this day after day as we get closer to the 2,000 episode, of which we're roughly a bit under 300 episodes away from anyways. So anyways, we've got Steel Pioneers Forces Kuhwagen here versus Dog Rifle Resistance here. Both players so far focusing hard on the west. We see the Giap, in fact, even sitting on the Kuhwagen support here. Folks there moving on in as well here for Giap. Docs, we're looking at Spec Ops, Breakthrough, and Luftwaffe versus Rifle, Airborne, and Heavy Cavalry. I haven't already mentioned that. Sometimes you do slip up, and you have to remember to thank people. So they set Ralph's got there on the way for Vodka. Troops moving out here, back there. There is nothing further going on. Then we got a third, more forces there for Giap. No meet each other's doctrine. Then again, they don't necessarily need it. Of course, there might be some benefits from having a plan to go along with things reasonably fast here. You can see the Vodkacompany is being shift more forces eastwards here. Riflemen there, leaving only basically troops to just keep Giap tied down here, ensuring you can't advance too easily either. So we'll have to see what happens here. Of course, also the option they could try and tie Giap down here and then sort of sneak up through here and hit the core point there. So there are some options here for Vodkacompany. Of course, Giap could maybe try and do something similar versus Vodkacompany. So shots being fired left and right here. We got the fuel pump being secured here. Cut-off point being secured as well towards it. Shots fired. Rifle moving in. He's going to try and pressure perhaps a bit harder against the folks going to do here. So far, having a pretty easy time out there. 5 here versus 3. Essentially, they can only shoot up through there at long range, which is where the rifle can slightly drop off. But there you go. Second round Scott moving. We got the Cooper Wagner running fast support as well. The question is here, of course, does Vodkacompany really want to fight this engagement? Does he benefit from it in any large degree, except just having a rifle got time up there? In this case, the rifle just got exposed, took too much damage, without really making a dent there on Giap. So the overall, I think, answer is just not really here, and I think overall Vodkacompany benefit of just trying to attack elsewhere, instead of just, pushing against here, which rather allowed Giap just, cut him to ribbons. So that is definitely not a good engagement here for Vodkacompany at all. And certainly there needs to be, I think, a sort of reassignment here of the forces, and a bit more emphasis on the eastern side somehow, or at least try and play around here instead of trying to attack into a position where Giap is well positioned. And we can see now he's tying down the rifle. He could easily just, I think, retreat them, reinforce them, and then push them back. And meanwhile now Giap's going to take advantage of the fact that Vodkacompany is tying the source down in, well, not really favourable engagements to push here through the centre with a lot of Fultz grenadiers against Vodkacompany's resistance. There the Sturm Pioneers are just sort of moving about here. I mean, overall, Giap is so far, I think, fighting very tactically, very smartly, avoiding sort of any, pointless engagements versus Giap. Overall, just looking to the ones he can win, and if he can't win them, at least not without necessarily exposing himself, it just ties down his opponent's resources. We actually see the ambulance being forward here to reinforce at the front line. That's not a bad idea there by Vodkacompany. They need to get the rifles slightly back here. They were not fully reinforced. Meanwhile, though, Giap pushing hard against each now with the Kuhwagen and the rifle. Fultz grenadiers here. No sign of anything further from Giap. We got a tech up there, the Battle Group headquarters. No sign of doctrine yet from either player. I imagine Vodkacompany's going to go for the lieutenant, and there we go. So both players teching. Obviously, Vodkacompany's going to get a bit more tempo out of it, since he does get a unit out of it, whereas Giap obviously gets zip. So with the lieutenant out here, Vodkacompany out, chances of pushing a bit further aggressively back against Giap, maybe sort of pushing it for more map control here, as long as he doesn't tight attack Giap, where sort of reasonably well dug in. He kind of wants to force Giap to engage at less favourable positions. There we go, got a doctoral choice. It is breakthrough for Giap, and we actually get the Sturm Officer. Hello, Sturm Officer out there for Giap, able to lead the men from the front, inspire them to greater goods for Germany. And there you go, got the lieutenant out here for Vodkacompany and the 4th Armoured Division. So there we go. He can also go for a 50 caliber right away, as I say there. You might want to setting up for a half-track. Of course, also the option there for the M20. But the anti-aircraft half-track thing just a bit more utility overall. But it is more expensive, so that might of course be an incentive towards not going there. Now with 50 caliber on stun, we got the officer pushing in aggressively, going for the victory point. In fact, he could push straight for the fuel point. But the Riflemen might actually caught a pretty bad spot here, and there you go. Riflemen immediately find themselves under intense fire here. You could actually rush for the car, I think you can win that one easily, but it goes for the house. And there we go, that's going to be a one engagement there for Giap in a short matter of time, I think. In the centre though, because they're being gutted, executed practically here by the Vodkacompany, lined up against the wall and shot for crimes against the German peoples. That one's for Destin, but those were the British. I don't care, you both speak English. Anyways, got the 50 caliber out here for Vodkacompany. Troops reinforcing, healing here, heading the fuel point there. Good work, we got a cool bug near, but that can't really stop. The lieutenants are going to have to divert more force, and now we see the west is sort of opening up more, but of course that is in part due to them sending up force in the east. Well, Giap here is nice, of course, is also good. He's using breakthrough tactics again. Pretty solid ability, quick allows him to cut the points here off, and now it's essentially allows him to advance much farther. And we got some Panzer out here for Giap as well, sent in from a nearby other units, since technically Panzer Fusiliers were sort of just a different name for Panzer Grenadiers. Here they're sort of presented as reconnaissance troops. They weren't. They're just Panzer Grenadiers with a fancier name. Usually initially part of the Großdeutschland, but sort of other units, partly some mates from elements of the Großdeutschland, would also carry the title there. And as for example, the Hammergöring Fallschirm Panzer Division, or Panzer Corps specifically, would have a battalion attached to the corps of Panzer Fusilier. So there you go. Grabbing points here, again being good use of breakthrough tactics. Now it's the west that's in the hands of Vodkacompany. Lieutenant falling back. He's going to need the 50 caliber there to somehow, catch all the German infantry out in the open and cut them to ribbons. Make them sauerkrauts. Fixing up the Kugelwagen there. And there you go, got the 50 caliber being locked forwards. Panzer Fusilier forces, there we go, forces moving forward to hit there and get to the fire from the lieutenant. BAR Thompson opening up, we got a Brandhand grenade off there. 50 caliber setting up there, opening up on the Germans. Should be, nope, doesn't quite work out that way it seems. Doesn't quite work out that way. We got a bigger push in now from Vodkacompany. You can see force moving towards the centre, the east. There we go, for some reason, despite being there, they were not actually capturing the point. That's bloody weird. We got a Panzer up in the Sturm Pioneers. Giap not too worried about mines, not to focus on repairing stuff. Although I think they might have removed that burners, it can't come, at least limited it. He's obviously more worried about light vehicles. And oh, Vodkacompany wasn't paying attention to the lieutenant. He got wiped. That is pretty nasty. They does have the anti-aircraft tough tech up now. But still, losing a lieutenant like that is a big loss for Vodkacompany. Lieutenant being a really good infantry unit. And I mean, you can replace him obviously, and even for that you're getting a fairly reasonable price. But still, when you got the first one, pretty cheap. In fact, you're getting at the exact cost of a rifle squad, which is a more than fair price. Perhaps a bit against fair, but not for the Americans. That is, reasons ever since Volkswagen is going back to fuel point there. So all of a sudden we can see Vodkacompany, despite the initial struggles there, has managed to turn things around. Giap hitting aggressively, the lieutenant, the anti-aircraft tough attack, overall allowing him just push very, very hard against the Storm Tier Giap. We got a lieutenant on the way to replace the one lost. Very good decision there. The lieutenant generally tends to be one of the units that just pays off to replace easily. I mean, again, you're paying the same for rifle squad, except you're getting the rifle squad with a lot more firepower. You'd have to be pretty bad at economics not to grasp that one. Just grabbing the fuel point here. Anti-aircraft half track hanging back there. And there you go, second lieutenant for Vodkacompany. Big push here though for Giap and the 1st SS. Half track joining in, opening up the Fultz Grenadiers. Rather need to fall back here. The officer with his sharp orders will ultimately force away the rifle, and there we go. Good hit down the half. Need to fall back with that one. In the east, grabbing points here. Vodkacompany still maintaining decent map control, though Giap is now, of course, sitting back here, partly inspired by the heroics of the officer. Attempt to clear up the Sturm Pioneers here, which enough have not moved to try and help deal with the half track. Got a Kenner for their support. He's got to try to bait the half to get into, you know, a situation where he can sort of just easily get off a few hits and take it out before Vodkacompany realise what's going on. Centre, they're being pushed up, no real resistance. Resistance there, pushed back by the officer. Lieutenant falling back. And 50 Cavalry sitting out there. Steel Pioneer is going to pop right in front of it. But again, the 50 Cavalry is going to be pretty close there. And that could easily go all the way there. He just pulls back the 50 Cavalry. I think that's probably the right decision there for Vodkacompany. In the east, we got more pressure here. Ralph Scott trying to make use of the cover that Giap has laid down previously. And the lieutenant here is already had a pretty bad day there. So once more, Giap is pushing. Oh, never mind. The officer got shot, causing complete collapse of the right-hand wing. Oh dear. Oh dear. Of course, the funny thing is, for the sort of German doctrine as it was, technically that would not happen since the Germans were trained so in case the officer died, the next in command would be able to take over the position. Obviously, as the war went on, they sort of struggled more with that, but that was sort of part of the tactical flexibility of the Germans. Even if the commanding officer got killed, the squad leader, the second in command usually also knew the mission, all that, and could just carry on very quickly, and that gave the Germans some ability. Of course, when they kept going through junior officers and all the likes, that of course, they at some point run into issues. But yes, a little fun fact there. There's then running into the Kubelwagen. Panzerjäger flying does not make much of an impact, but it does make for a really big explosion. No weapon racks up. Oh, no, mind, he does have weapon racks. We got actually some rifle not equipped here. The lieutenant has not been upgraded with a double BAR. Fulton's caught here, though they do have the officer and support. That's a rough thumb. You kind of want to keep the officer slightly behind the infantry, so it's a bit hard to focus down there. Go ahead, aircraft half tech opening up. Double 50 cals and that 3rd gun carrying into the Germans. Shredding numerous infantrymen. Here we got rifle versus the Fulton. This heavy cover versus light-ish cover with assault rifles and no upgrades on the riflemen. So that's likely going to be a win there for Giap. That might take some time here. Lieutenant pushing up, but again, unupgraded and being focused down by a lot of Germans. That's not going to work out. The anti-aircraft half-track coming in there needs to be careful as well. Sturmpioneer being pushed back here for the half-track. Small chance of wipe there. Not big, but it's there, and there you go. Gets away with this level of health and some pretty gaping wounds. Up here, reinforcements. BARs being handed out, at least theoretically. Looks like there's a bit of trouble there for Vodkacompany. The more BARs it can get, of course, the better here versus Giap. Giap meanwhile here going for the Schwerpanzer quarters, aiming for Obersoldaten, which definitely seems to be becoming more popular with the Oberkommando West, and certainly also work quite well with the Sturmoffizier, who of course benefit from his aura and of course his ability to target people.
Capture point is being overrun.
So this could give Vodkacompany quite a challenge there, and certainly I think would emphasise bringing up more BARs. He does also double upgrade, which is very good. But there you go, big push here from Giap, large infantry assault. Not using cover though, he's relying in this case largely on brute force and the fact that Vodkacompany's only got few weapons of suppression here versus Giap's infantry. Need to retreat there by the way. Oh, he retreats the officer, interesting enough. A bit worried it would seem there, had Giap. Lieutenant Rifleman moving in here, fortunately being slowly bled out by the BARs. I mean, right now Vodkacompany has both fuel points here and he's pulling ahead here. He could probably try and rush out a German tank here versus Giap, and that would work out well. A lot of infantry. No cover though for Giap. Not a lot here for, well, Vodkacompany. In fact, no cover for either. There you go. Giap pulls up behind an assortment of crates, suddenly swinging the game in favour of the battle here in favour of him. As Vodkacompany's men are much easier targets. Got the Kubelwagen with the anti-aircraft half-track. That's going to be a bit of a loss there for Giap. And we got the Obersoldaten squad here moving ahead here through the centre. Light machine gun and Carnot TKs. Still, he's got both fuel points and he can soon begin pulling for tanks. I mean, he's getting 39 fuel per minute. That's roughly a Sherman tank every 2.5 minutes. Which isn't exactly bad. Actually, not 2.5 minutes, what I'm saying. Actually, 2.5 minutes to 39, yeah. The Russians could do it every 2 minutes for the T-34-76. And then Orbital versus anti-aircraft half-track. That is a very lopsided engagement. They don't have any anti-tank weapons, no Panzerfaust, no nothing. Though technically most German infantry squads would have been equipped with Panzerfausts. Not exactly. I mean, even I think anti-tank space has been equipped with some just basic infantry, just been handed out Panzerfaust, since, you know, they're cheap, easy to operate, and, you know, why not? They had millions of them by the end of the war. In fact, some cases, like with the Volkssturm, they only had Panzerfaust, there was nothing else. Of course, Obersoldaten with Panzerfaust would be incredibly flexible and probably too powerful, but, you know, from a sort of organisational standpoint, it would make more sense if they had Panzerfaust, since, you know, as elite infantry, why wouldn't they be carrying around bloody anti-tank weapons? Volkswagen versus Rifleman, we got more moving in here. Up north, we got Sturmpioneer being repulsed here by the Rifleman. Vodkacompany leading another assault here. He's very close to the Sherman. In fact, he could go for it now. Of course, he might be worried about Giap going for tanks. And that's just saying up for the Jackson. I mean, Giap's not too far off from a Panzer IV himself. A Panzerkampfwagen 4, as for Yacht. Volkswagen Panzer IV. Interesting enough, he's not upgraded his Panzer IV with the recon package. With the G43s. That's a bit interesting to note. Their forces hiding up out here, and no assault rifles there either. Giap has in fact upgraded very little as infantry except one Volkswagen with a squad and an Obersoldaten squad. Riflemen need to retreat. Although in this case, the anti-aircraft he should have, I think, tried to pull a bit back further before hitting the retreat button. There we go. Giap here sees an opportunity to get a wipe there on Vodkacompany and does so. Should have probably pulled that half-track a bit closer, though he might have been worried about the kidnappers. Oh yeah, that's a full wipe there. The Vodkacompany could quickly replace it. One thing to know about Vodkacompany: no doctrine, no choices, no plans. And there go officer here to support the troops, further making it harder here for Vodkacompany to push ahead. Forcing retreat here as he tries to blast the Volkswagen out to the eastern house by the fuel. So, what will Vodkacompany do? I mean, he really needs to choose a doctrine, though. I mean, Heavy Cavalry could be an option, though he should obviously not say it for Pershing right now. But Rangers could help him out with some extra firepower. Airborne could help him out. And of course, Rifle Company could just give him EC8s, which would not be a bad thing either. Forcing retreat, they're using the Storm, is that? You probably just point out the medical bill they'd have to pay after the war if they got wounded. I'll do the trick in most cases. Rifleman there versus Sturm Pioneers. Quick pulling into Heavy Cavalry to wipe most of the fire there. If they set about here, there'd pretty much be no way to hide from the rifles, so they obviously have to pull through here with this sort of better cover. We got the Panzer IV moving in. Pendulum machine on the way there. I think rather than getting blasted out by the Schwerpanzer, no, actually Lieutenant avoids being spotted and suppressed. And there you go, Vodkacompany does it up here with the M36 Jackson tank destroyer. Big infantry push here behind the Panzer IV to hit into the west, where there's actually not so much there. Half-track and a few bazookas actually pushing back the Panzer IV there. Giap clearly not interested in risking his Panzerkampfwagen. There you go, another rifle wipe. This is starting to get a bit ugly there for Vodkacompany. Giap's tactics are beginning to look rather blobbish, and like a few good Shermans or Scots here could do a lot of damage to Giap. Oh dear, that's going to be another wipe. He does some retreating time. There you go, you can use a target them just to make it even harder here and just further punish him if he's just too slow to retreat. So there you go. Good use there of the Storm Officer. Again, I'm not a huge fan of him blobbing. He could still afford to spread out his men a bit more and still get concentrated firepower. But obviously at the same time, you kind of just want to maximise it, so to an extent understand it. And obviously also just want to get wipes on the Americans, because if they get, you know, too much experience too late in the game with too many BARs, they can very quickly snowball you. But certainly very nasty. Highlights again the utility of the Obersoldaten, but also I think the Storm Officer, who tends to get overlooked there. Also, he probably shouldn't be keeping the 50 Cavalry there to deal with. He's actively supporting against Giap's infantry rather than just hanging about here covering the fuel point. And right now he's going to lose it here. He's trying to take it out with armour piercing rounds, but no chance in hell even that close. So Vodkacompany, they're placing his 50 Cavalry that was lost. Panzer IV with 5 kills. Bit of a poor civil engagement for Vodkacompany, losing a lot of men. He just underestimates, I think, Giap's tenacity and firepower. And there you go. Jackson going for the Panzer IV. Oh dear, he could lose it. He's slightly going to lose it actually, unless something goes horribly wrong. And there you go. Panzer IV knocked out. by Vodkacompany's M36 Jackson tank destroyer. Giap did not see it coming in a million years. Otherwise, I don't think he put back all of his infantry, which could actually slow down the Jackson and give him the Panzer IV time to escape. So that was quite a counter-strike there by Vodkacompany. Giap now floating on manpower, consider some more Obersoldaten, Panzerfusiliere, machine guns, Raketenwerfers. A lot of things they could go for. As for Vodkacompany, his options are a bit more limited thanks to all the losses he's suffered. He definitely needs to fill out the ranks a bit more. He's just down to 2 infantry squads, and that's really about it. There's an opponent with a lot of infantry, so he's going to have to really rely on Shermans, which is not always going to be doable. So yes, I think go for another rifle squad at the very basics of minimums. At least call in some elite infantry. The lack of a doctrine is beginning to show as well here. I think for Vodkacompany. Punch here is the half track, anti-tank rifle grenade there goes off. But the Panzerers nonetheless suffer heavily here to the half track. Goddamn crouch, they wrecked their engine. But how? You know, just engine, man, like they suck. Rather than this Fultz Grenadiers, Riflemen securing the eastern fuel point, and the center victory point was secured here by the Fultz Grenadiers. Got the M36 Jackson there sneaking about with 2 kills to his name. As for Giap, well, not much else happening there. He's just got most of the infantry now. That's going to be down to Vodkacompany to deal with this in an efficient manner. Shermans, I think, or Scots could probably be the right decision here, as they have the AoE attacks and are less vulnerable to it, and would certainly punish Giap for the way he sort of utilises infantry at times. Got the second Obersoldaten squad there on the field, engaging the riflemen. There you go, 50 cavalry caught out them. There you go, retreating them with another 50 cavalry on the way there for Vodkacompany. So it's less clear what he's actually planning here. I mean, there's a theoretical option he's setting up here for Pershing. Take on Giap's infantry and army, and that can also work, but it's going to be quite some time away. And the problem is, Vodkacompany doesn't quite have that fuel lead he had earlier, so it's going to be much more easy for Giap to just, push out tanks before that and then punish Vodkacompany for playing for the Pershing. So, I mean, increasingly, I feel like Riflecompany in some ways might be the best choice here. I mean, he's still got the half track. Obviously, he's got 250 calibers as well, but they just sort of slowed them down to an extent that they don't actually sort of really punish Giap in a heavy way. They don't kill things. They don't have a really chance of wiping any of Giap's infantry, which is, I think, something that should be on Vodkacompany's to-do list. Probably right at the top there. Probably in point number 1, kill some Krauts. Quick Brandhand Granada there against Rifleman. Quickly forcing retreat. Jackson moving a bit uncertain of things. The half track in the east, dealing with Germans. Obersoldaten officer nearby. And in the centre, Obersoldaten does rapidly getting up close here with the Rifleman. Problem, of course, they don't actually have the ability for a grenade. They don't have munitions, except, oh, now he does. But really do it in time, because the WR is actually laying down a lot of firepower. And he almost gets a wipe there. Giap a bit too slow here, lack of grenades. And Giap, in this move, goes here for the Jagdpanzer. Penny word here about Vodkacompany putting out a lot of medium armour, but in reality it seems like here Vodkacompany is actually aiming for the Pershing now, which, honestly, considering the circumstances, is a bit of a bad idea. I mean, again, if Giap would just begin pushing Panzer IVs and Panthers out right now, the Pershing would find himself struggling to get any foothold. But because he's actually going here for the Jackson, there's a chance it might work. Small, because there's still a lot of Obersoldaten, there's still a lot of infantry, and there's still the officers. In that regard, Giap can still hit the infantry really hard. So, I mean, the Pershing, I think, is still a pretty risky move here for Vodkacompany. But the Jagdpanzer isn't quite so good at hurting infantry, so there's a small chance you can actually keep stalling against it. But again, it's going to still be risky. I mean, it's not going to be a walk in the park here for Vodkacompany. But there you go, got the Jagdpanzer 4-70 out. That's the Volmark version, by the way. There's also one made by Alkit, which also make the Stubs, by the way. But that one, for some reason, they made the superstructure really big and bulky, boxy in fact, so it just, didn't have the low profile of the regular Jagdpanzer. Even the Stubs which made it a pretty big target, so it was largely used as a replacement tank in tank battalions, usually as part of a Panzer brigade. Little fun fact there. That took a few shots of the Panzerfaust. They were kind of faulting some, they just wouldn't fire, so, you know. Makes sense in a historical perspective. Yak Panzer falling back here. In these grounding points here, we got the Raketner for hiding in ambush. We got a 50 caliber moving in on its own. With no support, no screen, no nothing. That's a bit risky there by Vodkacompany. But then again, he's already playing for a Pershing. He's no stranger to risks, even if they're silly risks. I'm no stranger to danger. Whoa, calm down there, Patton. We're up against Krauts, not the French. Oh, maybe I should be more careful then. Yeah. Half-tech moving in. 17 kills. It's actually doing pretty well there for Vodkacompany. Doing pretty well. The Yak Panzer might want to have a conversation about that. In this regard, we can sort of see the Giap sort of assault tactics that he just kind of, you know, blocks his men up, is running into issues, just making it harder for him to exert proper map control versus Vodkacompany, of course, makes him more vulnerable to machine guns. So in this regard, Vodkacompany is locking down Giap's infantry tactics, and Giap definitely needs to, you know, reorganize and stop, you know, bunching up his men. He needs to use them more flexibly, intelligently, and less, you know, gelatinously. Air recon's out here from Vodkacompany, calling him the Pershing, M26 Pershing. Rolling out there for America. Half-tech moving in, 18 kills, just being suppressed out in the open. 5th guy is going to get flanked. We've got the Pershing ready to cover its flank, and there we go, folks, getting blasted, suppressed, and overall a lot of nasty things. So the kid opens up, penetrates the frontal armor, might be able to Panzerfaust here, but then again it's going to be too late. He's pinned. He's pinned. Giap's too slow here, and he gets a wipe on Giap. At the same time, they get a big push here with a lot of infantry all bunched up. Half-track Jackson finally. Jackson needs to fall back, but the half-track's blocking the way for the Jackson. Oh, snot. And there we go. Jackson down, crashes into a tree. Smokescreen down. But that only somewhat to extent allows his rifle to get out of there. That was not well done there by Vodkacompany. Again, rather unfortunate. Troops are getting blasted by the half-track, though. 21 kills. It's definitely having an impact in Giap's forces. It is definitely having an impact. Pershing moves towards center. We've got a fighting position up to cover the center there. Not a bad idea at all there by Vodkacompany. Not a bad idea at all. Very strong one, in fact. And there you go. Orbison here still being directed by the retreating officer. Shoot harder! Jawohl! Gets off a few good hits there. Close to victory. Free half-track though returns to save the day. Yak Panzer almost good to go. Troops are healing, reinforcing. We've got the mechanized regiment going up. So looks like Giap might be playing for a King Tiger now. Similarly to when Vodkacompany playing for the Pershing, that's a pretty risky maneuver, particularly when your opponent already has a heavy tank out. Like, this could backfire on Giap. I mean, of course, it gets the King Tiger out, and his opponent, you know, freaks out and loses a lot of his stuff before it. It might work, but there's definitely the potential that Vodkacompany have to begin steamrolling Giap with tanks. Particularly since he controls more of the fuel here, so I mean, he could just be going for the repair pioneers, which is probably the better choice, but if he's truly playing for the King Tiger, that is highly risky. And there you go, fighting person. Also makes it hard here for Giap to blob about like he does. Also, we've got a fuel case here, so Vodkacompany is clearly planning here for the longer haul. Now he's going to try and get out as many tanks as possible, I imagine. A lot of Sherman tanks could do a lot of good alongside the Pershing, maybe a Jackson more as well, to replace the one lost. But he still needs to be careful not to lose any more infantry, or at least replace any losses and suffers. And he's got a lot of munitions. What would be great right now would be a bunch of mines. Would make it much harder here for Giap to move about as well. Plus, he could also set up some munitions for combined arms at the right time as well, I suspect. Yak Panzer going here for the fighting position. Shoots and misses. Sturm Pioneer squad nearby with their Raketen Panzerbuchse. Rather versus Orbital Dardan there. That's definitely not a favorable engagement for Ratman due to the situation. With Carbine, and of course, the light machine gun. Yak Panzer hammering away at the fighting position. Again, he's attempting to, but still not particularly. Oh, there we go. Actually got a successful shot off. And we get smoke. But where do we get smoke? Oh, there we go.
Enemies are swarming one of our emplacements.
Near the tree line to prevent Giap there to be able to cover the area around the victory point.
200 points left.
Person going here for the Yak Panzer. Not very enthusiastically, though. Not very enthusiastically.
The capture point is being overrun.
Folks go straight into the 50 caliber, quickly suppressed. Second 50 caliber there. Seems a bit excessive though to have both 50 calibers here in the east, when considering Giap's more likely to put pressure in the west. There's going to need more suppressive firepower there. So I definitely think Vodkacompany needs to shift one of his 50 calibers from the east towards the west to help deal with Giap. Even if he's going to fight position. I mean, there's still this part, and it really benefits from more suppressive firepower. Also, you know, the Shermans and Scots here to help further punish Giap's infantry. There you go. Almost got a Panzer Squad wipe, which actually finally got upgrade, and there you go. Full wipe on Giap's Panzer Fusilier.
PM-110 smoke strike can be delivered to cover our men. Krauts have cut our supply line. Frontline units are being hung out to
Victory
dry.
points wise, Vodkacompany is leading here versus Giap. Fighting position getting blasted out by the Yak Panzer once more. The Kedman for creeping up. Person moving in, takes a hit, shoots, misses the Yak Panzer. They could, of course, use the. Oh, it has used the H-Trap rounds, never mind. Close to losing it. Oh, shot bounced, shot bounced. Both shots bounced again. Good lord, that's going to be frustrating for Giap. But so far, he doesn't really. Got roughing it off on the Kedman doesn't do much. Got the anti-aircraft traffic rolling in, and this is kind of where I feel like, you know, why aren't at least one of the 50 calibers over here just help deal with Giap's tactics? Because he's just focusing everything here instead of looking to just destroy the forces here, and then maybe should try and flank behind the 50 calibers. It feels really weird that he's got two 50 calibers covering largely the same area. I mean, this is where, you know, fighting position would do a lot more good than here in the center, where it's going to be, you know, more easily focused down. So this definitely feels like a really poor tactical choice there by Vodkacompany. And there you go, Giap is seemingly set here to flank with the Orbital Dardan and the officer. That's going to be a lot of firepower in a short amount of time.
The capture point is under attack.
There we go. I mean, that's just walking in and shooting them down.
Krauts just took out an entire gun.
Firefly indeed. Forcing back the 5th caliber, crewing it with Orbital Dardan.
The enemy is overrunning one
And
of
right here, Vodkacompany just got punished for using his 50 calibers there rather than flexibly. And that's probably been his, I think, biggest issue of this match. He does tend to sort of fall off with the 50 calibers, just, you know, use them like potted plants that can shoot Germans. Which, of course, for some people would be a really big asset in potted plants. But still, you know, potted plants to move about, and generally you want your 50 calibers to be more mobile than that. If you just want something that's static, doesn't move, get a fighting position. Also, much harder for infantry just to flank unless they got flamethrowers or something like that. And the Orbital Dardan officer combo does not. It's going for another Jackson here. Obviously, still you should consider Scott or Sherman down the road, and with the Jackson approaching, I suppose he could consider more the Scott. Also cheaper, but just, you know, has the ability just to blast in from here and there and lay down smoke screens as well. Yak Panzer with the Trinity 2, Schutzen added.
Tank destroyer is ready for action.
Also then getting blasted. Gotta hit the return on the Pershing though. Second shot bounced. Another hit there, but failed to penetrate. We got the Jackson now supporting the Pershing. Officer Orbital Dardan pushing ahead here in the west. We got to attempts to recapture the territory there. The east needs to be captured as well here. Counter attack here from Giap again. There goes straight into the Pershing. Jackson. H-Rap rounds have already been deployed, and there you go. Kedman up here from the side. Giap Panzer down to close to half health. Need to be careful. The Aviation needs to fall back. Pershing needs to fall back. Jackson needs to fall back. Shot bounced again. That Pershing's been bouncing a lot of shots there from Giap's Yak Panzer, that's for sure. It has been bouncing a lot of shots. Need to get that fixed up. Half-tech needs to be careful. There you go. Straight into the kid there for Yak Panzer combo. Ooh, close there though. But yeah, again, Sherman or Scott here is going to be the best choice right now for Vodkacompany. Goes for 50 caliber. Not a fan of that one. Also, lay down some mines for heaven's sake, Vodkacompany. Lay down some mines. So there you go. Everyone that can work on the Pershing are working on it more or less. Except the half-track crew are busy with their own half-track. There you go. Big assault here from Giap. Obersoldaten with an Obersoldaten 50 caliber. Overwhelming firepower.
Armor here. Get ready, guys.
Moving that one, and of course getting it boosted by the officers as well, just for even more added pain. Needs to grab that eastern victory point. He's probably going to use his half-track for that, I guess. Again, he's just keeping his 50 cal behind. Again, he's using them very inflexibly here versus Giap, which is definitely what he should not be trying to do, I think. Giap looks like he's setting up for counter-attack here. We've got a lot of infantry, we've got the Yak Panzer, and looks like also by Giap he's not getting punished for setting up for the King Tiger whatsoever, again due to partly Vodkacompany's play style here, and also he's just not pushing up with a lot of armour. Might want to allow the person to shoot an infantry there. Vodka. There goes, shoots. Gets one kill there. Turning in the Yak Panzer, not even fully repaired, though it is close to Victory 3. Victory points wise, Vodkacompany continues to lead versus Giap, though it's slowly leading out. And there you go, Sherman on the way for Vodkacompany. No Scots, but Shermans. Will certainly also be helpful versus King Tiger down the road, and at this stage he's probably anticipating that is what Giap is going to be aiming for. But of course he still wants to hurt the infantry as well. I mean, the double Obersoldaten are quite a threat, and with the officer they don't become less of a threat. Only more.
Keep up the pressure. They're down to 100 points.
100 points left there for Giap. Yak Panzer shoots. Lands hitting on the Jackson, almost gaining Victory 3. Pershing half-tick nearby. We got Fulton moving in from several sides here. Slightly better, I think, infantry assault there from Giap. Troops being flanked here. Wiping the 50 cover. Good work there by Giap. Half-tick being pushed back. Sherman almost done here. Yak Panzer's gained Victory 3, increasing mobility and rate of fire. That's going to be a problem there for Vodkacompany's armour. Sherman arrives. Pershing moving hit. Shot. Bounced. Panzer straight fire. There you go. Almost got it. No interrupt round there. He could maybe finish off the Yak Panzer. And there you go, grenade up for the Pershing as well on the Storm Pioneers, almost taking out the end. There you go, wiped out. Oh, what? What was the last guy? Alright, he's apparently hiding somewhere and just managed to run away. But there you go, King Tiger out for Giap, Königs Tiger. Sherman Martin to join in the fight there. We got Tilly called in here on the 50 cover, covering the eastern fuel point, which again isn't covering the victory points right now. Pershing being sent in here. Troops going for the western point here, outmaneuvering the 50 cover there. Good work. 50 cover abandoning positions. Pershing going here for the Obersoldaten by the victory point. 91 versus 217. Largely running down the ground, the centre victory point in the west. King Tiger there moving against Raffen. One shots wiping the entire unit. BAR left behind. They're certainly bunched up quite well there. Behind the Cow 40 could have probably sort of fought to try and spread them a bit more than again Martin not paying attention. Sherman dealing with troops in the centre, hammering away but not quite hitting. Pershing moving towards the centre. Last spoke between there, need to get the eastern victory point back as well. Oh dear. He's barely got any infantry left now. He might have to call in a lot of resistance and just try and rely on Rangers or something. He needs replacements and he needs them now. Also, you should focus on the victory points, not on the munitions right next to them. The priority is trying to force Giap to make mistakes, and there you go. Hit there on the King Tiger from the Jackson. Armour being around being utilised there. Good work by Vodkacompany. They've only had mines laid down. There you go, another penetrating hit from the HVAP rounds. Doesn't quite pursue. Another, not entirely sure that was a hit. Going here for the eastern one. Got the half-tick moving in. Officer being pushed back here with 10 kills. Yak Panzer good to go again for the fatherland. King Tigerman for the rifle squad there. Shoots! Almost takes out the entire unit. Each retreat. And there you go, Kenneth Harding taking up a good hit in the Jackson. Eventually 4, by the way. Good hit from the Jackson on the King Tiger. Sherman trying some few hits. Fortunately, being shredded by the 5th Cavalry as well. Pershing opening up. 11 kills, virtually 2. After they're being assaulted by the Jagdpanzer and the Sturm Pioneers. He's going to lose. He's calling in smoke, but it's too late. Much too late. He should have been much faster just calling in the Jagdpanzer directly. Shoots at the Sturm Pioneers with a veteran 5. Misses. Jagdpanzer shoots, misses as well. He's sending in the Pershing with no support against the Jagdpanzer, which is now veteran 4. That's increased rate of fire and more accuracy. That is not good for the Pershing at those ranges without anything to support it. And right there in the centre, 50 Cavalry trying to grab the centre victory point, being obliterated here by the King Tiger. Sharman moving in and double hits. That's going to go down. Leaving Vodkacompany down with just the Jackson and the Pershing. Barely any infantry, barely any map control. The advantage he had squandered.
Rifle squad ready for action.
Orbison here versus the 5th Cavalry. They very much have the advantage here, and Vodkacompany quickly realises it. He very quickly realises it. And now Giap's got the edge here. He's got the superior armoured force. He's got the superior infantry. He's got the superior officers too. Obviously. I mean, just look at that cap. How is that not superior? Got the person moving in here. Obersoldat officer holding up the line here. Directed and poor Fritz. Smoke screen called down. The Obersoldat helping to grab the point. The problem is the riflemen are almost practically wiped by the time the smoke called in. Again, the officer Obersoldat combo is just lethal to non-veteran infantry. Halfway to veteran 5 there. Not very often you see a veteran Jagdpanzer, but there we go. Vodka, they're trying to hit pieces, taking the King Tiger head on here with the Jackson. King Tiger though misses, fixing up the Pershing again. Still very little infantry for Vodkacompany. Definitely think one of his biggest strategic issues as the game goes on, whereas again Giap has a lot. He's got the Volksgun, he's got the Sturmpine, he's got the Officer, he's got the Obersoldat. And a lot of them are quite a lot more veteran than what Vodkacompany's left. King Tiger been hit. We got a second Jackson for Vodkacompany again. He's really intent on killing the King Tiger, but he's losing sight of the infantry. He's really losing sight of the infantry, and that's definitely to Giap's advantage. Because even if he gets rid of the King Tiger, the Jacksons can't help him deal with all of the Obersoldaten with the officer. And those are just as much the problem for him and then the King as the King Tiger. So right here, things are falling apart for Vodkacompany, and he's somehow just digging himself a deeper hole. And there you go. Game over. A loss here for Vodkacompany. A victory for Giap and the 1st SS Panzerdivision Leibstandarte. A brutal battle right here on crossing in the woods with heavy casualties on both sides. And then there was undid Vodkacompany. Was just a time, in particular in the early game. Well, he was able to overcome that, but he still had a tendency of choosing weak engagement with his infantry. His 50 cavalry usage was rather sort of static, weak, inflexible at times, and just left them hanging about there rather than using them actively. Didn't try to push the front back against Giap at times. Also slow doctrinal usage, and when he finally got around to it, there were no mines. It was also very weak, and more importantly, he didn't replenish his infantry losses a lot. In particular, the lieutenant wasn't replaced after a certain point as well. So in that regard, he began struggling a lot there versus Giap's infantry tactics as they weren't being countered very efficiently, and they was just sort of pulling ahead. So while one was able to build ahead at times, he never was able to really fortify his grip and make it much harder for Giap to get in the game. And giving Giap just what he needs to push back there. So I mean, overall well played by Giap here. I think an interesting match in some ways. Again, just highlighting just how Obersoldaten are catching on there. And I also think again the Sturm Officers is a pretty great unit. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a new player feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Linking. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.